Hi sweet friend, I'm Sprout. Today, we're making a super cute little Durian plush together. I've also prepared a detailed PDF pattern. If you'd like to follow along more easily, you can find everything through the link in my bio. For this project, I'm using 4-ply cotton blend yarn, a 2.0mm hook, and just a little bit of glue. Alright, let's start with the durian head. First, we'll make a magic ring. Hold the crossed yarn in place, then insert your hook into the loop. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Chain 1 to start. This chain does not count as a stitch. Now we'll work into the ring. Make 6 single crochets into the loop. Insert your hook into the ring. Yarn over from above, and pull through both loops. That's 1 single crochet. To give it a cleaner look, place a stitch marker in your first stitch. Just go slowly and follow along. Once you finish all 6 stitches, pull the ring tight to close the center. Remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join the round. Keep the yarn above your hook. That completes round 1. Now let's move on to round 2. This round is all increases. Work 2 single crochets into each stitch around. Chain 1 to start. And place your stitch marker in the first stitch again. By the end of this round, you should have 12 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join the round. That completes round 2. Now let's move on to round 3. For this round, we'll follow this pattern. 1 single crochet, then 1 increase. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Now, just keep following the same pattern. Take your time here. For a total of 6 sets, you should have 18 stitches. Once you finish the round, remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 3. Now let's move on to round 4. For this round, we'll follow this pattern. 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and 1 single crochet. Chain 1 to start. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Repeat that all the way around, for a total of 6 sets. You should have 24 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 4. Now let's move on to round 5. For this round, we'll follow this pattern. 3 single crochets, then 1 increase. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Repeat that all the way around, for a total of 6 sets. By the end of this round, you should have 30 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 5. Now let's move on to round 6. For this round, 2 single crochets, 1 increase, and 2 single crochets. Repeat that all the way around, for a total of 6 sets. Chain 1 to start. Remember, this chain doesn't count as a stitch. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. By the end of this round, you should have 36 stitches. Once you finish the round, remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 6. Now, let's move on to round 7. For this round, 5 single crochets, then 1 increase, chain 1 to start. We'll start each round with a chain 1. I won't repeat it every time, so just keep that in mind as you go. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Repeat that all the way around, for a total of 6 sets. You'll see the piece getting wider now. By the end of this round, you should have 42 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 7. Now for rounds 8 through 14, work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Remember to start each round with a chain 1. This chain does not count as a stitch. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch to help you keep track. You'll have 42 stitches in each round. Once you finish each round, remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. Then just repeat the same steps for each round. This part is all repetition, so I'll skip ahead here. Take your time and enjoy the process. There's no rush. Now let's move on to round 15. For this round, 5 single crochets, then 1 decrease. Chain 1 to start. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Repeat that all the way around, for a total of 6 sets. Let me show you how to make the decrease. Insert your hook into the front loop of the next stitch. Then into the front loop of the following stitch. Yarn over, and pull through both loops. That completes 1 single crochet decrease. You should have 36 stitches. Once you finish the round, remove your stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 15. For round 16, we will follow this pattern, 2 single crochets, then 1 decrease, a total of 6 sets. Chain 1 to start. This chain does not count as a stitch. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. 2 single crochets, then 1 decrease. Repeat this pattern all the way around. It's starting to come together now. You will have 30 stitches in this round. Remove the stitch marker. Slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 16. For round 17, we will follow this pattern, 3 single crochets, then 1 decrease. Chain 1 to start. This chain does not count as a stitch. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. 3 single crochets, then 1 decrease. Repeat this pattern all the way around. You will have 24 stitches in this round. Remove the stitch marker. Slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 17. For round 18, we will follow this pattern, 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, then 1 single crochet. a total of 6 sets. Chain 1 to start. This chain does not count as a stitch. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, then 1 single crochet. Repeat this pattern all the way around. You will have 18 stitches in this round. Go slowly here to keep the shape nice. Remove the stitch marker. Slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 18. Gently pull up your loop a little longer. Add a small amount of stuffing. Add the stuffing slowly and evenly, so the shape looks nice and full. Now, let's move on to round 19. Start with 1 single crochet, then make 1 decrease, that's 1 set. Chain 1 to start. As you crochet, gently hold the stuffing inside. Be careful not to catch the stuffing. You will have 12 stitches in this round. Repeat this 6 times. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. You're doing great, just keep going. You will have 12 stitches in this round. Remove the stitch marker. Slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 19. Now for round 20, we will make decreases all the way around. Make 6 decreases. You will have 6 stitches in this round. Chain 1 to start. We won't use a stitch marker for this round. That is 1 decrease in each set. Take your time with this part. Find your first stitch, slip stitch to join. That completes round 20. At this point, the main body of the head is finished. Leave a long yarn tail. We'll use it to close the opening. Thread your yarn needle. Go through the front loops of each stitch. You can go 1 stitch at a time, or skip stitches if that feels easier. Once all stitches are picked up, gently pull the yarn tight. Don't pull too hard, so the yarn doesn't break. Then hide the yarn tail inside the piece. Insert it back into the fabric. Weave through a couple of stitches to secure. Then cut the yarn, and just like that, your little durian head is finished. Now, let's start working on the outfit for our little durian. You can choose any colors you like for this part. Whenever we work an even-numbered round, we'll be working in the back loops only. Don't worry, I'll show this more slowly later. First, make a magic ring, and work 6 single crochets. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Once you finish the 6 stitches, pull the ring tight. This is the same as what we did for the head. Remove the stitch marker and crochet over the yarn tail to secure it. Then slip stitch into the first stitch to join. That completes round 1. For round 2, we'll make 6 increases. Since this is an even numbered round, we work in the back loops only. Chain 1 to start. Each stitch forms a V shape with 2 loops. Insert your hook into the back loop only, the loop farther from you. Crochet over the yarn tail for a few stitches to secure it. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. By the end of this round, you should have 12 stitches. Remember, even numbered rounds use the back loop only. Take your time here. Remove the stitch marker and slip stitch to join. That completes round 2. For round 3, we'll follow this pattern. 1 single crochet, then 1 increase. You will repeat this 6 times. Chain 1 to start. This round is worked normally, through both loops. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. This round is simple, I'll speed it up. Once you finish 18 stitches, slip stitch to join. That completes round 3. For round 4, we go back to the back loop only. The pattern is 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and 1 single crochet. Chain 1 to start. Work in the back loop only. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Repeat this 6 times for 24 stitches. Go slowly here and watch your stitch placement. Remove the stitch marker and slip stitch to join. That completes round 4. For round 5, we work normally through both loops. The pattern is 3 single crochets, then 1 increase. Chain 1 to start. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Repeat this 6 times for 30 stitches. Take your time, no rush. Remove the stitch marker and slip stitch to join. That completes round 5. For round 6, work in the back loop only. The pattern is 2 single crochets, 1 increase, and 2 single crochets. Repeat this 6 times for 36 stitches. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. Go slowly, you've got this. Remove the stitch marker and slip stitch to join. That completes round 6. For round 7, we'll follow this pattern. 5 single crochets, then 1 increase. Repeat this 6 times. Chain 1 to start. Place your stitch marker in the first stitch. You will have 42 stitches in this round. Once you finish the round, slip stitch to join. That completes round 7. Round 8, work 1 single crochet in each stitch around, 42 stitches total, in the back loop only. Chain 1 to start. This chain does not count as a stitch. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. At the end of the round, remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 8 is complete. Round 9, work even, 1 single crochet in each stitch around, 42 stitches, chain 1 to start. Work into both loops as normal. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. Take your time and enjoy the process. Small mistakes are totally okay. When finished, remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 9 is complete. Round 10, work in the back loop only, 1 single crochet in each stitch around 42 stitches. No increases or decreases in this round. Chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. When finished, remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 10 is complete. Round 11, work even, 1 single crochet in each stitch around 42 stitches, chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. Slip stitch to join. Round 11 is complete. Round 12, work in the back loop only, 1 single crochet in each stitch around, 42 stitches. Chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. When finished, remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 12 is complete. You can take a moment to check your rounds. Round 13, work even, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. Just keep a steady rhythm and take your time. Remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 13 is complete. Round 14, work in the back loop only, 1 single crochet in each stitch around 42 stitches. Chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. I'll speed this part up. Just make sure you stay in the correct stitches. When finished, remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 14 is complete. Round 15, work even, 1 single crochet in each stitch around 42 stitches, chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. Remove the marker and slip stitch to join. Round 15 is complete. After this, we'll begin decreasing over the next 2 rounds. Before that, place the head inside the piece. Take the head we made earlier. The side with the slip stitch seam is the back. The clean side is the front. The starting point is right here. Place the seam of the outfit at the bottom, and keep the head seam at the back so it stays hidden. Fit the piece in and adjust it gently. Make sure everything lines up nicely so it looks neat. Once assembled, we'll continue with the next 2 rounds. Round 16, work in the back loop only. Pattern, 5 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat, 6 times. Chain 1 to start. Work into the back loop. Place a stitch marker. You will have 36 stitches. Let me show you how to make the decrease in the back loop. Insert your hook into the back loop of the next stitch, and pull up a loop, then into the next back loop and pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Take your time here, it's totally okay. At the end of the round, remove the stitch marker and slip stitch to the first stitch to join. Round 16 is complete. Round 17, work 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, then 2 single crochets. Repeat this pattern for 6 groups. Chain 1 to start. Place a stitch marker in the first stitch. You will have 30 stitches. This is the last round of the outer layer. You're almost there. For the decrease here, work into the front loops only. Remove the marker. We won't slip stitch here. Leave a yarn tail and finish with an invisible join. Find the last stitch and insert your needle. Pull it slightly tight so it looks neat. Insert through the next stitch to complete the invisible join. Weave the remaining yarn tail back and forth through the stitches to secure it, then trim the excess. Now the outer layer is nicely fitted onto the head. Next, we'll start making the durian spikes. Keep the front of the piece facing you while working. We'll be working into the front loops that we left earlier. If you like, you can start from round 1, but I'm starting from round 2. I'll go slowly here so you can follow along. Insert your hook into any front loop, wherever you prefer. Insert your hook and pull up a loop. Hold the yarn tail along your work. Chain 2. These chains do not count as a stitch. Work into the same stitch. Each spike is worked across 2 stitches. In the first stitch, make 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, chain 1, then go back and make 1 single crochet. In the second stitch, make 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, then slip stitch back into the first half double crochet. It may sound complicated, but just take it step by step, you'll get it. Make a half double crochet in the same stitch. Keep the yarn tail in place as you work. Pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. You can place a stitch marker here. This is where we'll slip stitch later. Now make a double crochet in the same stitch. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. Chain 1. Go back to the previous stitch and make 1 single crochet. Go slowly here and watch your stitch placement. Now move to the second stitch and make 1 double crochet. Then make 1 half double crochet in the same stitch. Turn your piece and find the marked stitch. Insert into the front loop and slip stitch. That completes 1 spike. This is how it looks. Continue the same way around. If it's hard to see the stitches, you can use a stitch marker to help. Take your time here, it's totally okay. Repeat the same pattern all the way around, then slip stitch to join. This helps keep everything neat and seamless. For the second round, still work into the front loops. You can stagger the placement or align them, it's up to you. Skip one stitch and work into the next. Slip stitch to join. Chain 2, then make 1/2 double crochet. Make 1 double crochet. Chain 1. Go back and make 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, make 1 double crochet. Then 1/2 double crochet. Turn your piece and slip stitch to complete the spike. That completes one spike in the second round. Always work into the front loops. Continue the same way to finish the round. Don't worry, it gets easier as you go. And now the main piece is complete. Now let's make the stem for our durian plush. Start with a magic ring and make 6 single crochets into the ring. Chain 1 to start. This chain does not count as a stitch. Work 6 single crochets into the ring. If you like, place a stitch marker in the first stitch. Pull the ring tight, then slip stitch to the first stitch to join. You can crochet over the yarn tail to secure it. That completes round 1. Rounds 2 through 6 are simple. Work 1 single crochet in each stitch around. At the start of each round, chain 1, and at the end, slip stitch to join. Round 2 is complete. Round 3 is the same as round 2. You can turn your work to make it easier to crochet. Round 3 is complete. Continue the same pattern up to round 6. I'll speed this part up. Round 6 is complete. Leave a long yarn tail. We'll use it for sewing later. And now the stem is finished. Next, we'll make the cute yellow fringe. We need 1 large piece and 2 small ones. Let's start with the large piece. Make a magic ring and work 8 single crochets into it. Once done, do not slip stitch, just pull up the loop and cut the yarn. Then pull the ring tight. Now make an invisible join. Insert into the first stitch. Then bring the needle out through the last stitch. Tie a small knot at the back. Trim the yarn tail. The large fringe piece is done. For the small pieces, make 2 of them the same way, with 6 single crochets in each magic ring. Also leave a yarn tail and finish with an invisible join. Now, both small pieces are finished. You'll need 2 in total. Next, we'll assemble the small parts onto the plush. Start by attaching the stem. Position it roughly in the center, around the second round. Use a needle to sew it in place. If you want it more secure, stitch it a few extra times. Once done, weave in the ends and trim the yarn. Now glue the fringe pieces onto the head. Place the large one in the center, and the small ones on each side. Apply a small amount of glue. Do the same for the small pieces. Just a little glue is enough. Attach them next to the large piece. Now the fringe is complete. It looks so cute. Next, we'll embroider the face. Insert your needle at the right spot. Keep it centered and balanced. Tie a knot to secure it. Trim the yarn and hide the tail. Once the eyes are done, we'll stitch the mouth. Place the mouth between the eyes. Secure it and hide the yarn. Add a little blush to make it even cuter. And that's it. Thank you for crocheting with me. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.